The Eve. Part 1. Hello, gentle reader. Welcome. You will love Eve so much because Eve can be you or me. The only difference is I am the one telling it. Don't forget to subscribe and come back for part 2. Now let's begin. I woke up to the sound of his ringtone. The same one that used to play every morning while he shaved. Low jazz, soft enough to make me smile before opening my eyes. But that morning, the sound came from somewhere it shouldn't have, from inside my dresser, muffled, insistent. When I found the phone, I froze. Adrian's phone was supposed to be at the police station. They'd taken it after the accident. Yet here it was, buzzing with a number I didn't recognize. I didn't answer. I just stared until it stopped. The world had lost its shape overnight. The wedding gown still hung by the window, catching the morning light. The bouquet was half wilted, lilies bending as if they were grieving too. My mother had tried to stay the night, but I'd sent her away. I wanted silence, not pity. People kept saying he died in an accident. That word, accident, felt wrong in my mouth. Adrian was too careful, too deliberate. Nothing in his life happened by chance. I made coffee I couldn't drink. The news played faintly on the television. Traffic updates, political noise, nothing about him. Only a small headline scrolling by. Businessman found dead under bridge, investigation ongoing. That was Adrian. Businessman. As if the word explained anything. The night before he died, he had been quiet. We'd been rehearsing our vows. Mine trembled, his sounded rehearsed. He'd kissed my forehead and said, "Tomorrow, everything changes." I thought he meant marriage. Now the sentence haunted me. I kept replaying our last moments like a crime scene. Had I missed something? A tone in his voice? A glance? He'd left the apartment at midnight, saying he had one last thing to settle. A surprise, he'd called it. By morning, there was a knock on my door and a detective holding his wallet. "Miss Allen? We're sorry." That was all I remembered before the world went white. I should have gone with my mother to the morgue, but I couldn't. Seeing him cold would make it real. Instead, I wandered through the apartment, touching the things he'd touched, the cufflinks on the dresser, the half-read book on the nightstand. I opened the pages. A photograph slipped out. It was a picture of us at the beach last month, but behind it, another photo, creased, older. Adrian with 3 men I didn't know. They stood beside black SUVs, wearing suits. One of them had a tattoo of a serpent coiled around his wrist. Something twisted inside me. The phone rang again. Same number. This time I answered. "Who is this?" My voice cracked. Silence, then a low male voice. "He shouldn't have told you anything." Click. The line went dead. I stared at the phone until the screen dimmed. The edges of the world began to blur. Somewhere outside, a siren wailed, long and lonely. When night came, I couldn't stay in the apartment. Everything smelled of him, his cologne, his aftershave, the faint trace of smoke from the nights he claimed he quit cigarettes. I took his car keys, the spare set, and drove aimlessly through the city. Rain began to fall, heavy and sudden. I ended up by the bridge, the one where they'd found him. Police tape fluttered in the wind, yellow against the grey water. I parked and stepped out. The river below was restless, churning under the streetlights. "What were you doing here, Adrian?" I whispered. A voice behind me said, "You shouldn't be here." It was the detective from the day before, Detective Vale. He looked tired, rain soaking through his coat. "I just wanted to see where it happened," I said. He sighed. "We're still investigating." His car went off the embankment. "We found signs of a struggle." My stomach turned. A struggle? With who? He hesitated. "Do you know anyone who might have wanted to hurt him?" I shook my head, but a flicker of memory hit me. Adrian's bruised knuckles weeks ago, the mysterious phone calls, the serpent tattoo in that photo. "No," I whispered. He was good." The detective gave me a look that said he'd heard that before. "If anything comes to mind, call me." When he left, I stayed, staring at the dark water until my reflection blurred. The rain hid my tears. That night, for the first time, I wondered if I'd ever really known the man I was going to marry. The first time I saw Adrian, he was laughing with someone at the cafe near my office. Not a loud laugh, but one of those quiet, confident ones that made you want to know what was so funny. He was dressed in a dark suit, no tie, sleeves rolled to his elbows, the picture of calm control. When his gaze lifted and met mine, I looked away too fast, pretending to be absorbed in the pastry display. It didn't work. He walked right over. "You should get the lemon tart," he said. "It's criminally underrated." I laughed before I could stop myself. "You're very sure of that?" "I'm very sure of a lot of things," he replied, smiling just enough to make me curious and uneasy at the same time. That was Adrian. Every sentence felt like a promise and a secret wrapped in one. He started showing up more often, sometimes at the cafe, sometimes near my office. He never asked for my number, but he always seemed to know where to find me. When I finally asked how he kept showing up, he said, "Fate doesn't wait for phone numbers." It was absurd, romantic, and I believed him. He made ordinary days cinematic. I was an editor at a small publishing firm back then, buried in manuscripts and coffee stains. Adrian pulled me out of that world. Dinners at rooftop restaurants, drives to nowhere, flowers I didn't know the names of left at my doorstep. He was gentle, protective, and a little bit mysterious, but in the kind of way that makes you feel chosen. I thought I'd met the love of my life. It wasn't until 3 months in that I noticed the cracks. He never talked about his family. He avoided photos. Once, I found a gun locked in a small box in his closet. He said it was for protection because of business. I didn't ask what kind of business. Love made me blind, or maybe I wanted to be blind. Then there were the calls. Late nights. Voices muffled behind closed doors. When I asked, he'd say, "Just work, Myra. Don't worry about it." I should have worried. But when he looked at me, when his hand brushed my cheek and he said, "You make everything quiet," all my doubts melted away. He had that power. One night, after dinner, we walked along the pier. The city lights rippled across the water like gold veins, and I asked, "What were you before all this?" He smiled faintly. "Someone I'm not proud of." "And now?" "Now, I'm trying to be someone you can love." He kissed me then, slow, searching, like he was sealing a vow he'd never speak aloud. That was the night he told me about the house on Willow Lane. "I bought it," he said, eyes bright. "For us. For the future." I remember laughing, spinning in his arms under the streetlight. The air smelled like rain and promise. I didn't know then that the house would become a crime scene. Sometimes, when I think back, I wonder if he ever really existed, or if I loved a man built on lies. Because everything he told me had just enough truth to hide what mattered. And the worst part? I didn't care. Not until it was too late.
Please subscribe, guys.